Democratic presidential Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has testified before a House Judiciary Subcommittee on the weaponization of the federal government. The hearing is about examining federal government's role in censoring Americans and big tech's collusion with out-of-control government agencies to silence speech. And ahead of Kennedy's appearance, Republican House Majority Leader Steve Scalise has defended a decision to bring him to testify on Capitol Hill despite the noted anti-vaccine conspiracy theorists' anti-Semitic remarks. We'll try and delve deeper into why he's becoming such a controversial figure. And for that, let me welcome my guest, senior American journalist Ray Locker joins me live. Thank you, Ray, for joining in. How do you weigh in on the Republican attempt that is bound to embarrass Joe Biden? How do you weigh in on this move by the Republicans?
Well, that's all it is an attempt to embarrass the president by bringing a prominent member of the storied Kennedy family to testify. I mean, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has his name going for him and nothing more. He's not an expert in immunology. He's not a public health expert. He's a conspiracy theorist. He likens mask mandates to the Holocaust, which is insane. And the only reason they're bringing him there is to somehow score points against the president and publicize some of their far-out views.
Ray, can Democrats use RFK Jr.'s testimony to their advantage? Are there chances of the Republican agenda also backfiring?
Oh, sure. I mean, look, the more publicity about what Robert F. Kennedy Jr. actually believes, the worse he looks. I mean, his own family has come out against him, his nephew, his sister, saying, I don't believe what he believes. I don't believe what he stands for. And every time he's out there, he discredits himself even more. Actually, I was talking to a longtime associate of the family last night and said, you know, his dad would be absolutely horrified if he saw this.
That's actually hilarious. But after his recent racist comments about the coronavirus attacking particularly the Caucasians and blacks, I understand where you're coming from. Is that also not making Robert F. Kennedy already a discredited witness during this testimony?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the only people he has any credibility with are the leadership of this subcommittee and people in their amen corner. That's really about it. I mean, his views do not appeal to the mainstream of American society or any public health expert with any kind of credibility. So, you know, his credibility is basically shot before he even testifies. And, you know, these claims that the government is being weaponized against him or he's being censored, nobody's censoring him. People see what he's talking about all the time. They just don't agree with it. That's not censorship. You know, your free speech. You can say whatever you want.
Ray,
but it's nobody's obligation to trumpet what you say to a wider audience.
Do you see a deliberate bid by the Republicans to hype Robert F. Kennedy's Democratic nomination as well?
Sure. I mean, look, it serves their interest to embarrass the president, to do anything to weaken him going into next year's election. I mean, that's standard. It's to be expected. I don't agree with it, but I'm not surprised by it. That's the way politics work in this country. And I mean, it would be like if the United States was making a big deal because some fringe member of the Nehru or Gandhi family was making an outlandish claim. I understand why it's of interest, but he has basically no real credibility.
And he's also a particularly controversial figure. From you, I'd like to know his long-standing history of conspiracy theories. Why does he like to delve in some? Could you throw more light on why he's seen as such a controversial figure?
Well, I mean, he's been saying things like this for a long time. At one time, he was considered, you know, a leading light of the Kennedy family. His work on the environment with the Riverkeeper organization in the Hudson River in New York was exemplary. Some of his stuff on energy was very, you know, promising, and people thought, wow, he has potential. And then he started to veer more and more into conspiracy theories, you know, with the discredited claims about vaccines leading to autism. I mean, the underlying research on that has long been discredited, and the person who promoted it has been totally shamed, but Kennedy keeps talking about it. So as he keeps doing these things, more and more people go, hey, this isn't the guy I thought he was, and they step away from him.
Kennedy's presidential hopes, that's also something that I'd like to discuss. Despite the legacy, as you rightly pointed out, he doesn't make for a promising Democrat. Where do you see his campaign heading?
Oh, nowhere. I mean, he's going to get some votes in a few primaries, but he's no real threat to the president's renomination. He doesn't have a viable organization anywhere. He's gliding along on his name and his ability to attract attention because he's a, a compelling speaker. And so people want to hear what he has to say, or they give him the time of day. But in the end, he's not going to weigh a very promising campaign because he doesn't have any money and he doesn't have any organization. And that's what you need to get nominated in this country.
Many political pundits are talking about how he could actually lead to a second term for Donald Trump by denting hopes for Joe Biden through his marginal vote share. Right now, polls are indicating he still has 20% of Democratic support.
Well, if that happened, if that stayed true into next year's general election, that could definitely jeopardize the president's reelection hopes. But the chances are that when the renomination is all said and done, the president gets renominated. He's the only Democrat on the ballot. RFK Jr. won't be on any ballot unless he somehow qualifies as a third party candidate. But I doubt that he would be able to do that given the complexities of doing that in a variety of states. So right now he seems like a threat. Next November, I kind of doubt it, but you never know.
I'm sure his anti-vaccine conspiracy mongering has caused him enough damage, and I think we'll have to leave it at that. Many thanks to you, Ray Locker, for joining in with your precious perspective.